I want to check the temperature on this hire. For me, this is a hire that I knew was happening. It makes sense for a lot of reasons. Zach, Zach is on the hot seat going into this year's season. And so I thought that the hires he made, I didn't expect him to go so far fetched. I figured he would go with a familiar face to a degree.
Mhm.
I like the Al Golden hire. Al Golden also has experience with the Bengals. He has a lot. He's widely regarded in that locker room. Players have a lot of respect for him. Um, he is a great leader of men. He is someone that I would say is a perfectionist to the minute details. I'm excited about this defense hire. I also think that, to me, this signaled that it's not that they didn't like Lou. I feel like they just felt like they needed a change of voice. Them going with the Al Golden hire signifies to me that they want someone that they've had success with before in the past, someone that has been a part of those defenses, um, to game plan for like the Chiefs, right? Those defenses that have game plan for teams like the Bills and so on and so forth. Um, and maybe he brings a little bit of good luck with us too, right? Last time we saw Al Golden as a Bengals, I think they swept the Ravens. So maybe that kind of brushes off to him, taking over the new role as defensive coordinator. But I think what you're expecting from him is the ability to really develop some of the younger players. I expect to see a lot of man coverage moving forward. I expect the blitzing to go up to a degree, but regardless, the Bengals still need to add talent to the defense side of the ball. We're going to get to that because that's also a topic on the show, but I want to get the overall temperature of everyone's thoughts on the Al Golden hire. I know we've kind of talked about it the last couple because we knew this was coming down the pipeline, but Daniel, I'm actually going to start with you.
I'm excited for the change, and that's one of my biggest, points for this. And we're going to obviously discuss when it comes to the offseason is what changes when it comes to the talent that he is going to leave the door versus that's going to stay. Looking at the guys that the Bengals have currently on their team that are current free agents, as well as guys that they can bring in, right? Two names: Akeem Davis Gaither and Joseph Ossai, right? Akeem Davis Gaither is a free agent, Joseph Ossai is a free agent. These are two guys where they played decent roles when it comes to the Bengals this past year, right? Akeem Davis Gaither really stepped in when it came to the Logan Wilson injury, and same thing with Joseph Ossai. I think he's shown some bright spots. I'm curious to see what Al Golden's mindset is when it comes to the defensive line, right? Is he going to make a priority, and it comes to the front office too? Are they going to make a priority adding a dominant edge outside of Trey Hendrickson? Or are they going to try to keep some of these guys like a Miles Murphy? And there's just so many different questions I'm excited about. And the one thing I will say is a lot of people are looking at the national championship, right, as a huge negative for Al Golden. I'm not going to read too much into that, right? And the reason why they gave up more than 24 points once this season besides the national championship. And for me, that's consistency that I want to see. People talked about and dumped on Lou Anarumo's defense this year for the course of the entire season, not just for one game, the course of the entire season. And Al Golden's defense this entire year ranked number 2 overall in the country. They dealt with a ton of injuries, and we'll be talking about the draft prospects. There's one guy, cornerback, Benjamin Morrison. He was out for the national championship. Same thing. One of the best defensive linemen out for the national championship. So I'm not going to read too much into that because there was a lot of great performances. They kicked the doors off of Penn State. The final play of the game, Drew Allar blew the game, and that was a credit to Al Golden's defense. So I know I kind of went a little all over the place, but I'm excited to see what he brings onto this team. He was good, very good as a linebackers coach for the Bengals, and all around, I think one of the biggest positives is it's just a change. It's a change in voice. You get some of the old guys, older guys out of here, and just you need to bring in fresh faces, whether it comes to the defensive line, linebacker room, even the safety room. So I'm just curious to see where he goes about it with that. But I'm excited to see what he can bring.
Yeah. For me, I like Al. I don't feel too strongly one way or the other about it. I really love the idea of bringing in somebody from the college ranks that has had success, and I mean, back-to-back years of top 7, I believe, in EPA per play defensively, just phenomenal. Like you can't get too picky. Numbers don't lie. He's produced at Notre Dame, and last year's team, 2 years ago's team with Cam Hart and them, like they didn't really produce too many NFL players that year. I believe their highest drafted player was a third or fourth round linebacker that, is whatever. Cam Hart ended up having a great rookie year. Then this year they still have Benjamin Morrison, Xavier Watson, some guys, but the NFL, it's not like they're just oozing with NFL talent over there at Notre Dame. Yes, they have a number of really solid players. Yes, they have a number of guys to mix in and out, but he is getting a lot out of, I don't want to say a lesser talented defense, but compared to Oregon, Alabama, Texas, all these teams that have so much more talent, he's outproducing all of them. So that is first and foremost essentially all that matters. If you're going to hold people from scoring and produce, that's all we really care about. If you want to talk about the process of how we got there, that's a whole different argument and spiel to go down. But in general, I'm pretty excited about Al Golden. Just again, I'm a big fan of bringing somebody in from college. If you can teach these complex schemes and these different things to 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds and have them do it effectively, you have to think that NFL pro players are going to be able to execute it and perform it at an even higher rate. And I just talked about how much success he has in calling plays and running the defense and getting the most out of his players. So there's just a lot of things to like about the specific hire of Al Golden. Again, it wasn't the biggest secret in the world and everything, but truth be told, it could go a lot of directions though. Still, too, he hasn't really done too much in the NFL. Obviously, he was our linebackers coach, had some more important duties in those games, but he could go a number of different ways. I think he's going to be pretty good. I'm interested to kind of see how he changes things up. Like Daniel said, guys, Joseph Asai, Akeem Davis Gaither decisions with Geno Stone, BJ Hill. There's a lot of guys for him to make his decision about, and he'll work with the staff that he brings in to do so. But all in all, I think he's going to provide just a different attitude, a different mindset that it was just clearly needed on the defense. We've talked at a nauseating pace about Lou and how nothing was strictly his fault. Similar to the offensive line coach, it's just so refreshing to get in a new, different voice, and Al Golden just happens to be pretty good too.